welcome back to No Can Do. My name is Clara, and I believe you don't have to be an expert to try something new. Today, I'll show you an easier, faster, better way to flip vintage chairs. And I try my hand at a Pinterest-worthy furniture makeover, taking an old TV stand and turning it into a modern cane credenza. If you want to know what I did, how I did it, how much I spent, and how much I made, just keep watching. I picked up this red vintage swivel rocker on OfferUp for $15. I also got this TV stand from Facebook Marketplace for $10. Both of them were in pretty good shape. I just knew that I had to have an artistic vision for the TV stand, and I wanted to try something new with this chair flip. So here is the before I did anything to either one of them. I gave the chair a good once over, and it was pretty dirty, but it was structurally sound. So I was pretty happy about that. There was a little bit of cat scratching on the back, but I thought I could just kind of trim off any loose pieces of fabric. When I looked underneath the skirt though, I did notice that there were pieces of wood from the swivel rocker sticking out. So I knew that if I was going to remove the skirt, that would still be an issue. So I came up with a different plan, which I'm excited to show you today. I started by removing hardware from the TV stand. And a good trick for not losing your hardware in the flipping process is to go ahead and just screw the knob back into the screw and set it aside so that you know which piece of hardware goes with which thing. Once I had removed all the hardware, I wanted to go ahead and get the glass out of the doors because I wanted to staple cane in there. And unlike my last project where I tried something similar, this glass was pretty easy to get out. It just had rubber pieces that were holding the glass in place, so I just wedged a screwdriver underneath the rubber and was able to lift it right up and pull the glass out. Once I got the glass out, there were still little pieces of wood in the windows or the doors, and so I just pulled those out, and it was really easy. They actually weren't in there very well, so it wasn't too hard to just kind of rip them out with my hands. I moved on and did the exact same thing on the second door. Next up, it was time to get to cleaning, and so I put on my gloves and sprayed the TV stand down with some simple green cleaner. I like this because it's good at cutting through grease and grime and dirt, but it isn't full of super toxic chemicals. It's a little bit milder. I made sure that the whole piece got covered with a layer of simple green, and then I waited a minute and then wiped the whole thing down with a wet cloth. I think I maybe sprayed on a little bit too much of the simple green. It's pretty concentrated. So I wanted to make sure to get all of the residue, the soap residue off. So I went through and kind of just sprayed the piece down with a water bottle and then wiped the piece down again with a wet rag that was clean. You do want to make sure to get all the soap scum off because it can affect the paint and the way that the paint adheres to the piece. So if you're painting something, yes, you need to clean it, but you also need to make sure to wipe all the cleanser off. There were just a few little bumps and imperfections on this piece, nothing major. It was in really good shape, but I just decided to sand them down, I think with a 100 or 120 grit sandpaper, just to kind of get some of those spots smoothed down and to kind of give a quick scuff sand so that the paint could adhere really well. Then I went through with a microfiber rag and just wiped down any of the sanding dust. As I was doing this, I found just a few more spots that could be sanded down a tiny bit more, so I just alternated between sanding a little bit and wiping back the sanding dust. Next, it's time to get to painting. So I used Annie Sloan chalk paint in Athenian black. I really wanted the darkest black that I could find, and this was the darkest black that I could find. So I just stirred it up really nicely, and today I got to try a paint sprayer. So at first I tried to put on one of these awesome lids that I really love, but apparently they don't fit on the Annie Sloan cans. So I had to abandon that and just pour it directly into my paint sprayer. I'm so excited to show you all of this paint sprayer. It's a Wagner brand Flexio 3000, and I'm using the detail nozzle for this project. I just went ahead and added quite a bit of water to the paint and stirred it all up to make sure that it was a good consistency for spraying. If you watched some of my last videos, you might know that I've had some struggles with painting by brush, and I've also had struggles painting with a roller, so I just decided I'm not going to give up on painting, but I'm going to try another strategy. So I was really excited to try out this paint sprayer. It's really great. There's two different sprayer attachments that you can use with this. So if you're painting a house, you can use the bigger one, and if you're doing something that requires a little bit more detail and is smaller, you can use this nozzle. I just wanted to make sure to kind of test out my sprayer. So at first I just painted a little bit of cardboard, and then I started with the back of my piece. So that's a pro tip. If you're trying something new for the first time, maybe try it out on the back rather than the front. So if you make any mistakes, they won't be as noticeable. This sprayer definitely has a bit of a learning curve. Just to make sure that you get the right coverage, you might have to do everything horizontally and then do another layer vertically. But it is still so much easier than a brush, in my opinion. And what would have taken me probably an hour took me about 10 minutes. It was really that fast. So I just made sure to cover the whole piece in paint, and then I let it sit for a couple hours and dry in the sunshine, and then I came back later and did another coat. While the rest of the piece was drying, I went ahead and sprayed all of the hardware with a gold spray paint from Rust-Oleum. I didn't end up loving this color. I thought it was like a little too yellow. So later on I put a top coat on it that was a lighter gold. But for the base coat, just to get it gold instead of black, this worked really well. I'm sure one of you out there knows of a better way to spray windows or doors this is not the best way, just putting it flat on the ground. So if you have an idea of a better way, more efficient way to get this done, please let me know in the comments. While the TV stand was drying, I took this opportunity to clean and flip this red chair. I used my Bissell Pro Heat Pet upholstery vacuum cleaner and just went over the whole thing, spraying water and cleaning solution, getting in the cracks, vacuuming everything up. And of course, after going through, the water was pretty dirty. Like I said, the arms of this chair were pretty gross. Something I really love about this is that you can spray on water and cleaning solution and then you let it sit for a minute and then you can kind of vacuum it all up. And if you're looking at that vacuum right there, you can see in the clear spot on the top all the water that's getting vacuumed up, and you can see how dirty it is. So I like to go over a section multiple times until I see that that kind of window there is clear rather than dirty water. Then I know that I've really gotten that area deep cleaned. I've started listening to podcasts while I'm flipping furniture, so you can see my headphones there. If you have any really great podcasts you think I should know about, please let me know down in the comments. I don't think there's any furniture flipping podcasts yet, but maybe somebody should make one. Once I was all done cleaning the chair, I went in and I took off the swivel rocker using a screwdriver and then also using a hammer to pry off the base. Then I went through with a hot glue gun and a staple gun and just folded the skirt up. You all, this was the moment of genius that I had. You don't need to rip the skirt off. You can just hot glue it, staple it, fold it up, and that way it'll still have this great look where you can see the legs of it, but you don't have to rip the skirt off. That's the hack. That's the secret. That's the big point of this video. So if you learn nothing else, please know there's an easier way to flip chairs, and this is it. What I learned while doing this is that you want to make sure when you're folding the fabric from the skirt over that the front part is going to not have any weird creases on it. So here's what it looked like after I was done. I can't stress enough how much easier this was than ripping the skirt off. I was ready to put on new legs. I had some that I had gotten from Menards online for a steal of a deal at $23. So I just went over and put on the leg bases, kind of measured out where they should go, marked the holes with a Sharpie, and got ready to drill some pilot holes. In the past, I haven't always drilled pilot holes, and what's happened is that I've just screwed the screws in, and that can split the wood. So I decided I'm not going to cut any corners, and I'm going to drill the pilot holes. Everything was going great until the drill bit got stuck in the chair. But it wasn't too big of a deal. I was able to get it out. It just took a few extra minutes. Finally, it was time to screw the screws in so that I could place the legs in there. Next up, I went outside, put on my gloves, and used a foam brush to apply some wood stain from Minwax to my legs. I think the color was red oak. I wanted something that would be dark but would also complement the chair and its color. I've seen some other YouTubers use Minwax stain inside their homes, and I just want to encourage you, if you're using anything that has fumes, make sure to wear a respirator and do it outside if possible, or in a really well ventilated area. I let those legs dry for a bit in the sunshine, and I decided to go back to the TV stand. So here's how it looked after 2 coats of paint. Overall, I thought it looked really nice, but there were a few spots that were a little patchy. So what I did was I poured my polyacrylic top coat into my sprayer, and I added just a touch of the Annie Sloan black paint so that the top coat wouldn't have any sort of like weird film to it. It would still be black. So then I just went through, kind of wiped off any dust, and then just started spraying the top coat. Honestly, I love this sprayer. It has made my life so much easier. I've been using it on a lot more projects that I'll show you all soon. But if you have any questions about the sprayer, or you'd like me to do a tutorial on it or more of an in-depth review, I'd be happy to. Just leave me a comment and let me know. While the top coat was drying, I went inside and measured the cane that I wanted to put in the doors. I had ordered this cane online. I'll link it in the description if you want to go get some cane as well. It's often back ordered, so you have to plan in advance. Then I put the cane in warm water for about a half an hour. It's easier to work with when it has soaked and is kind of damp. So then I dried it off a little bit with a towel and put it into the frames of the TV stand. What I've learned from other YouTubers, including Jamie and Sarah, is that if you put the cane in without soaking it, when you staple it in, it will kind of look kind of bubbly or wavy, like it won't be pulled really tight and have a really clean look to it. So if you do soak it, then what happens is when it dries, it kind of pulls out and expands and somehow just has a really tight look to it. But you also have to make sure to staple between every single one of the little cane patterns there. So you have to kind of hold it tight with one hand and then also make sure you're getting in every single little circle. Once all the cane was in, I went through with a box cutter and cut off the excess cane. Once the cane was in and the top coat had dried, it was time to reassemble the piece. I just went through and put all of the brackets back on and the screws back in and made sure everything was in the right place. Unfortunately, as you can see, the doors went on crooked. I don't know exactly what happened, or if I just screwed things in wrong, or if they were crooked to begin with, but they did not look good. So I spent a long time, probably over an hour, re-screwing in the doors and unscrewing and trying to make a shim and just trying different strategies to try and get the doors to go in nicely. Eventually, I ended up re-drilling new holes, and remeasuring, and then I was able to get the doors pretty close to even. So just for reference, this was the before and this was the after. I was so happy with how it turned out. I really loved working on this piece. I loved using the paint sprayer. I loved putting in cane. I didn't love rehanging the doors, but overall it was a success. I ended up listing this on Facebook Marketplace, and within a couple days I had sold it for $200. All in, my costs for paint, top coat, and cane were about $60, and so after selling it for $200, I made a profit of $140. Just for reference, here is the before of the chair, and here is the after. I love the way this chair turned out with the nice mid-century modern legs, and I loved that I just was able to fold under that fabric from the skirt, and I didn't have to rip it off. I bought this chair for $15. I spent $23 on the legs and the leg bases. I spent about $7 on other things like the stain and staples and hot glue. I already had those materials, so I'm just estimating. So all in, I spent $45 on this chair, and I sold it for $180. So I made a $135 profit on this chair. $135 on the chair and $140 profit on the TV stand. I ended up making a profit of $275 for just about a day of work. I really enjoyed trying some new things on both of these flips, and I hope you did too. Please let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like furniture flipping, make sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments what you think I should try next, and I will see you soon.